this
Okay.
turning into
I
maybe
guess
a near-death
we'll just film it.
experience?
All right.
Possibly.
Okay.
Does this add to the adventure?
I don't know what to do.
Absolutely.
I don't know how to let you know that this is gonna hurt.
Well, good morning, little Chit Chalk Chatters. Today we have a very special guest coming to our classroom, and he's going to read a book that he wrote. Please welcome Mr. Walsh.
My name is Matt Walsh. I am a children's author, and I've written a book called Johnny the Walrus. This book is all about identity and imagination. What is identity? Does anyone know what identity means?
No.
Do you know? You know what identity is? No. It's like if I were to tell you, my adjectives are handsome and brilliant, and no matter whenever you're talking about me, you have to describe me as handsome and brilliant because that's how I identify.
It's a moving interview.
Okay. It's who you are. It's delusion, it could be mental illness, it could be, it's a lot of different things. With children, right, that's what it means.
And there's a lot more of it in the episode.
Now, who likes to pretend to be things? Is there anything you like to pretend to be? How about in the back?
I like to pretend to be
A ninja. That's a good one. What about you? All right.
For coming out, there's something so sad about that. First of all,
Well, we all like to use our imagination. Sometimes I use my imagination. I pretend to be a monster. I chase my kids around because I'm big and ugly, so I could be a monster.
thank you for speaking up.
That's what this book is about. It's all about a boy who pretends to be a walrus. He identifies as a walrus, and his mom's a little silly. She takes it seriously and thinks he really is a walrus. That's silly, isn't it?
So
Makes no sense.
what is this thing doing on the floor?
We don't have to worry about that.
Because your voice does matter, I think, in this conversation.
We're going to read the book now. Okay. Johnny's a boy with a big imagination. One day he's a dog, the next day a crustacean. It's like a crab or a lobster. One morning he came downstairs barking and clapping, wood spoons for tusks and sock fins a flapping. He had spoons in his mouth. He was pretending to be a walrus. I'm Johnny the Walrus, he said with a roar. The wood floor's my ocean. The carpet's my shore. He's swimming around like a walrus. Isn't that silly? Yeah. And what does that mean? So we have enough of a problem getting someone who identifies as a woman to tell us what a woman is, but
Right. What's a they?
yeah, what do you like, describe to me the feelings of being a they. Describe, can you describe that? What is that experience like? Johnny's mom loves her son's make-believe time. You're Johnny the Walrus till you change your mind, Mommy says. But Johnny's mom's phone said it's not just pretend. So she went on her phone, and there are people telling her that this isn't pretend, he's really a walrus. There's also... Only a bigot would say that. How dare you offend? What's a bigot? Anybody know? So your self-perception, you can have whatever self-perception you want, but you can't expect me to take part in that self-perception or to take part in this kind of charade, this theatrical production. The mean person, right? Mommy was told to take John for a checkup. All these people are holding signs. Johnny is a real walrus, one sign says.
That exhibits some very unhealthy kind of cult-like dynamics who are really upset about this.
Human walruses are real walruses. Let Johnny transition, all these people are saying.
If you don't even like your voice on a recording, that's a sign of gender dysphoria, and you need to go see a medical professional because you're trans.
You'll need to eat worms and to put on gray makeup.
But we have this ideology that is especially prevalent online that says that if you have those feelings, that means you're trans. I mean, there are literally people who say,
The worms give you whiskers, the gray blends you in.
But you felt what every young woman I've ever met felt at a certain age, which is uncomfortable with yourself.
The doctor says. You don't get your own pronouns. That's grammar, that's language.
And it feels like you were exploited at that moment of weakness.
And a simple procedure cuts feet into fins.
So how do you, and this is all explained in greater depth in the documentary, but
The doctor wants to cut into Johnny and make him into a walrus.
how do you feel now?
That's scary.
It's gross eating worms, Mom. They're all so dang twitchy. He doesn't want to eat worms.
so there's a lot of young women who are going through that, who had a double mastectomy at 16, 17, 18 years old, or even younger, that happens, who
It's not bad for you. I fought.
I learned a lot.
I didn't eat worms, but I did.
An oversimplification of the truth. I mean,
Wood spoons kind of hurt, and the makeup is itchy.
yeah, you learn a lot. Like I said, when you go on a cross-sex hormone, like that's going to give you not just physical changes, but psychological experiences that you can't just act like they never happened. You can't just take it back.
Yes.
And
Deep down, Johnny's mom knew that something was wrong. Look at Johnny.
especially with surgeries, you know, a breast implant after a mastectomy is not the same thing as never having your breast taken off in the first place.
He's dressed up like a walrus, but he's not having a fun time. But she felt so much pressure, she just went along.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you said, it's completely normal for not only young girls, but often young boys too, to feel uncomfortable with themselves, uncomfortable with their body.
The internet people knew just what to do. She went back to the internet to look for answers.
Oh, it's heartbreaking. I hope people are hearing you with open minds, with tolerance. Are they?
Never a good idea. And mommy was told to take John to the zoo.
There's a lot of people out there, especially parents, who are really thankful for what I'm saying because they see that their young girl or their young boy is going through this, and the school is telling them, you need to affirm them, they're trans, you need to transition them.
Now she's going to take her son to go live at the zoo like he's a real walrus.
I don't want to live at the zoo.
So there's a lot of parents who are really thankful.
When Johnny arrived, the walruses grunted.
All their doctors are telling them you need to transition them, and these parents, they know that their child should not be having these cosmetic procedures.
And the mommy says, my boy's a real walrus. His growth was just stunted. I mean, she really thinks this kid is a walrus.
Talk about taking advantage of people.
But it's not.
No.
There are other young people who are really thankful that I'm saying what I'm saying, but obviously, you know, you have.
The zookeeper thought, what's she talking about? Ma'am, that's just a boy with wood spoons in his mouth.
And psychologically as well. I mean, it's just devastating to, especially from a young age, be lied to by adults at school and by medical professionals and told that your body is wrong, you need to change it, you need to get hormones, you need to get surgeries.
Now he's the voice of reason.
That's devastating for a young person. So I'm just really concerned for younger girls and boys like I once was,
Yes.
being led down this path and being hurt by it.
But if I believe that, they'll say that I'm phobic.
People who have suffered like you have sometimes get deeper.
Protecting your son, ma'am, is what's most heroic.
Man, you are so articulate. It's remarkable.
At last, Johnny's mommy was able to see
You know, I consider myself lucky that I was able to get out of it unscarred really medically, but there's so many young people who can't say the same.
that Johnny's not what he's pretending to be.
But, you know, there's nothing you can really do to put that feeling of oneness and safety in your body back.
Now mommy ignores the mean things on her phone,
It's a failure of male leadership, of adult leadership, and it does seem like
while Johnny pretends
The trans activists and the trans community,
he's a bird flying home.
I really feel afraid for these other young girls like myself who they might not be.
Why do you have to hate what you don't understand?
How do you make books?
I didn't think I'd ever need to tell you this.
No, I just sat down and wrote it.
There's another one.
There's another one there. We got a bunch of them. They're going to be all over the place soon enough.
But I don't hate you, Bobby.
You can ask your parents to buy it for you.
I meant soccer.
Oh, yeah, I hate soccer, yes.
Why do you...
I would be a bad parent if I didn't.
Why...
Soccer was invented by European ladies to keep them busy while their husbands did the cooking.
Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.
Elena joins us on set now. Elena, thanks so much. At 23, looking back on what happened.
I feel honestly grateful for the experience because it's taught me a lot about the world and about myself, but
Is there a particular ending we're looking for here, or just...
Failure of male leadership, of adult leadership, and it does seem like some of the steps are medically irreversible.
absolutely, I mean,
anytime you ask someone to do that, it immediately descends into incoherence. And also, by the way, the actual gender-neutral pronoun for an individual is it. It's not they. So it's
Thoughtful.
interesting that, well, nobody wants to be an it because it's
That's
dehumanizing.
offensive.
Right.
My kid was going to school with a girl who was a they.
At 23, it's
Thank
just,
you.
it's...
But what you want to do is appropriate women. You want to appropriate womanhood into basically a costume that can be worn. So you can feel however you want. I mean, I could sit here and say that you don't get your own pronouns, just like you don't get your own prepositions or your own adjectives. You know, I feel like a tomato plant, but that doesn't mean I'm actually in those things. So your self-perception, you can have whatever self-perception you want. But you can't expect me to take part.
Thank you.
The end.